Here's an example for you I'd like you to consider. You have 3 columns of numbers. Right now, we have no context to what these really mean. But let's say that we took a sample of 5 light bulbs from 3 different brands. They all cost the same. And we're trying to determine which brand of bulb we should select based on our sample. Now, one thing, there's a flaw right away. It's a very small sample size. But considering what we do have, and this is limited information, what kind of decisions could you make based on the information? What might help you make a decision between these 3 brands as to which one is best? Well, I might calculate some of the descriptive statistics, such as the mean, median, and mode, and possibly a measure of spread or variability called the standard deviation. How do you calculate the average or the mean? Well, I'm sure you know this or have been exposed somewhere along the line, but if not, what I do is I add up all the observations, so 0, 0, 3, 4, and 8 in this first brand, and that comes out to a sum of 15. I divide by the number of observations, which is 5, and I get a nice average of 3. For the median you have to have the values lined up from low to high or high to low. In our case, they are lined up low to high, and then you select the middle one. Here, it is also 3. It's the middle value. Now, there are sophisticated ways of finding the median, which we'll talk about later, but just as a tip for you, if you want the position of the median, it's n plus 1 over 2. To revisit this idea of the position of the median, we knew that it was the middle value of 3 in this brand X. But if you had to do this with a large sample, let's take it in this context with only 5. Total of 5 observations, that's what n is, the total of observations, 5. Add 1, which gives you 6, and then divide by 2. The position would be the 3rd spot, counting from low to high. 1, 2, 3. There it is, it's the 3rd option, so it was number 3. Okay? Now if you had 1,000 observations, it would be 1,000 plus 1 over 2, or 500.5. So it would be between the 500 and 501st value. Then you'd have to find the average of the 2. That's an advanced concept, but it's nice to have. In Excel and some of the other statistical packages that you have, such as Minitab, may take care of that for you. But it's good to have the concept down. We found that the mean was 3, the median was 3, and now the mode is the most common value. What's the most common value in this brand X? That's right, there's a double 0 there. So the mode was 0 in this case. All right, let's do the same for brand Y and Z. Brand Y, the average came out to be 3. The median is 3. And the mode is, what's the most common value in Y? It's also 3. How about for brand Z? The average is the total, which is also 15 divided by 5, which is 3. And the median? Where's the middle value? It is lined up low to high, right? It would be this 3. Now you're seeing a lot of commonality among the different samples. The 3 samples have very similar averages and medians. Now the mode, what is the mode here? It looks like you have a tie between 2 and 4, so it's 2 and 4. Typically they would say that is a bimodal distribution because there's a tie between 2 values. Well, with these 3 descriptive statistics of mean, median, and mode, notice that I used a symbol for the average. This is the sample average, also known as the mean, but it's called the sample average. Because realize we only took a sample of 5 light bulbs from every one of the 3 brands. Okay, if you had to make a decision on which one to choose and why, what would you say? Many people would jump and say right away brand Y because it's the most consistent. But since these are light bulbs and they all cost the same, I have risk takers out there. And And some risk takers would actually say they would choose brand X because even though they have 2 duds, they still have one of them that'll last, let's say if these are in months, 8 months and 4 months. Versus these are all consistent at 3, but none of them last that long. And bulbs are fairly cheap, you think. But now, as we've gone to the new types of bulbs, it has become more expensive. And finally, brand Z, same story. You can sit there and go, hey, I'm not having any duds that last no months at all, but you have some on the low end of 2 and as high as 4. But in every case, in all 3 brands, the average was still 3 across the board. So if you made a decision just based on average and you had large samples, let's say thousands in each, you might make the wrong decision just based on just the average. The median also gave us 3 as well. The median is good to determine how many fall below a middle value and how many fall above. It's also used in 2 areas that I know in the world at large right now, median house prices and median salaries. And think about why those would be good areas to use the median versus the average. Finally, the mode. When we talk about one of the other descriptive statistics, also known as a measure of central tendency along with the mean and median, in each case for the 3 brands, 0, 3, and 2 and 4, we've got variability there in terms of which one was most frequent.